How do you stay focused on being and even knowing what you're supposed to do here, who you're supposed to be here? His question was actually what you're supposed to do here when all of these other objects and obstacles and temptations are around you all the time. And I thought about that and I said, you know what? The problem isn't knowing what you're supposed to do. The problem is being who you're supposed to be. Because if you're being who you're supposed to be, you're going to do what you're supposed to do because all you can do is what benefits who you are. So let's not focus anymore on what we're supposed to be doing. Let's not focus on what our purpose is. Let's not focus on what we're here for. Let's focus on who we're supposed to be here. If you are who you're supposed to be, then everything you're supposed to do is going to be right in front of you. It's going to be like ABCs and one, two, threes. The problem that we run into in this society as men is that we often find ourselves focusing more on what we should be doing other than who we should be being. And so when you focus on what you should be doing more than who you should be, then you start to compromise and make decisions that you probably wouldn't make if you were focusing more on being who you're supposed to be. You start doing anything for money, anything for success. You start trying to fit in. You start trying to blend in. You start trying to become one of the gang, one of the crew, instead of being one of the few. So let's get into this, man. 10 benefits of being who God put you here to be. 10 benefits of being who God put you here to be. I could be anyone. I could be anywhere. I could be doing anything. But God put me here to be King Ray Ray. I've always been King Ray Ray to somebody. Growing up, to my friends, I was King Ray Ray to them. Everywhere I've gone throughout my life, I've been King Ray Ray to them. Well, I've been king. I had to add the Ray Ray. Once I added the Ray Ray, I was an unstoppable force. So the first benefit of being who God put you here to be is you don't get caught up in impressing the world instead of pleasing God. See, when you're worried about what you're supposed to be doing, it's easy to get caught up in what society is doing. It's easy to get caught up in what society deems successful. It's easy to get caught up in what seems to be the easy way out. It's easy to get caught up in doing what other people are doing and telling you you should do as well because they can show you how to do it. You know how many scams are that tell people, okay, I did this. If you pay me this amount of money, I'll tell you how to do it too. You know what? The success rate of those scams is very low. The success rate is very low because I can't tell you how to do what I did if you don't know who you are. See, I can't tell you how to become what I am. I can help you become what you're supposed to be by helping you understand who you're supposed to be. So when you focus more on who you're supposed to be, you don't get caught up in impressing the world instead of pleasing God. Impressing the world and pleasing God is always two opposite things. The world is not impressed by godliness. The world is impressed by greed. The world is impressed by gluttony. The world is impressed by immorality. The world is impressed by the fast life. The world is impressed by cars, clothes, jewelry, and all the other stuff that don't mean nothing after you buy it. So you got to focus on who you're supposed to be. Maybe you're not supposed to be a millionaire. Maybe you're not supposed to be a financial millionaire, but your blessings will come from the lives you change. See, let me tell you something. The only thing that matters in this life is the lives you affect in a positive manner. Nothing else matters. If you make $50 million for yourself, okay, so what? You made $50 million. You pass away and your $50 million get left to whoever, and you're done. You're only remembered by those people who you left the money to. When you affect people's lives, that is how you know you're being who you're supposed to be because we're all meant to affect people's lives. The number two benefit of being who God put you here to be is you fall into the many manifold blessings that are predestined for you. See, there's a path you're supposed to be on because there's a person you're supposed to be. That person is supposed to be on that path. Now, you can't get on that path if you're not that person. You can only find your true path in life when you become who you're truly meant to be. The focus should never be on what to do. The focus should always be on who to be. Everything else falls into place. Everything else falls into place. There are some things that are meant for King Ray Ray that are not meant for anyone else. And if I don't get them, no one else will. They'll just sit there. That's how pointed existence in this world is. You're not here just because. You're not here just because two adults decided to be intimate. That's not why you're here. You're here for a greater cause. Now it's up to you to embrace that cause. But as long as you focus on what that is and not who you're supposed to be, you never will do it. So when you fall into your blessings, it means because they're already on your path. They're not going to come meet you halfway. They're not going to all of a sudden show up. Your blessings in life are on the path you're supposed to be on. Do you want them? I'm helping my son make the decision right now. And I did say helping him. He's a young man. He ultimately can make his own decision. But I'm helping to make the decision right now on which path he wants to take. We sit down, we discuss it, we talk about the good and bad. I tell him about the pros and cons, and we sit down and we make a decision on it. Because I want him to understand, as I want you men to understand, if you choose the wrong path, you're never going to become who you're supposed to become. There's only one path that you're going to go to become exactly who you're supposed to become. And you know what that starts with? Being who you're supposed to be. And the easy thing about it is you already know who you're supposed to be. It's already embedded in you. So when guys ask me, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? I say, well, what's that thing that's inside of you that's always been inside of you? What's that thing you can't remember never ever not doing? There are things that you can remember ever not that I mean, you just can't remember a time in life where you didn't do it. You got to tap into who you are. You have to remember who you are. You have to remember the foundation of your being in order to understand where you're supposed to be. People live their entire lives on the wrong path, man. They get a little bit of financial security, or they get a little bit of money, or they get a little bit of benefits, or they get all of that. You never know what you're supposed to be if you spend your entire life chasing the wrong path because you're worried more about what you should be doing than who you're supposed to be. So if you're not getting your blessings, it's because you're not on the right path. You can be a good person, but there are no blessings going to come to you that you're supposed to have if you're not on the right path. I put it like this: you could be the best person in the world, but if you need to get in shape and you don't change your diet or work out, guess what's not going to happen? You're not going to suddenly just good your way into shape. You're not going to suddenly, oh, I'll do some good deeds and get myself. No, that's not how it goes. You have to be willing to be who you're supposed to be. Now, a part of this is being honest about who you are. Sometimes you know who you are and you tell yourself you don't want to be that. Okay, well, here's the thing: you don't decide who you're supposed to be. Yes, you can decide what path you're going to pursue, but you don't decide who you're supposed to be. I do believe in some aspects of predestination, and I do believe that we're all born with the tools that we need. We just have to spend our lives developing those tools, sharpening those tools, preparing those tools, and possibly weaponizing those tools. We have to understand that you're born as who you're supposed to be. So if you're 20, 30, 40 years old and you still don't know who you're supposed to be, man, you're running out of time. And in some instances, you run out of time. Your goal every day should be waking up being the man you're supposed to be, being the woman you're supposed to be, being the child you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a certain way and you know it. Deep down inside, you know it. If you're out here doing a whole bunch of the wrong things, you know you're not supposed to be doing them. If you're out here doing a whole bunch of disrespectful things, you know you're not supposed to be doing them. If you're out here doing a whole bunch of sneaky things, you know you're not supposed to be doing them. If you're out here being dishonest with people, you know you're not supposed to be doing it, but you're still doing it. And then when you turn around and don't reap no benefits in your life and don't reap the blessings that God has for you, you turn around and say, well, I don't think there is a God. Okay, well, won't you try to be who you're supposed to be and let him show you? God ain't gonna prove to you who he is. You got to prove to him who you are. He ain't gonna prove to you the blessings he can drop on you. You got to prove to him you deserve the blessings. The third benefit of being who God put you here to be is you have no equal. See, I'm not in I know you hear sometimes people say you're only in competition with yourself. And you may not think about the spiritual aspect of that. You're only in competition with yourself because you have a path that you're supposed to be on. Nobody else can be on it. If you're being who you're supposed to be, you have no competition because nobody can do that better than you. You got to embrace who you are. You got to accept yourself for who you are, embrace it, and you got to wear it like a badge of honor. Hey, guess what? This is who I am because what? This is who God made me. I bet God didn't make you this. Yes, he may have made you that, but I don't care about that. All I care about is this. God made me this. Now go find me a better me than me. Look around, search the world and find me a better me than me. Find me anybody who can even come close. And then when you realize you can't do that, I want you to go find a better you than you. Go find the person who can be you better than you. These things are so simple. Look at yourself and think about that thing that's been in you since you were born. You remember that thing. And tell me which one of your peers is better than you at that thing. Famo, salute. King Abraham, I see you, brother. There is no equal to being the authentic version of yourself. So you got to stop chasing what that thing over there is, and you got to stop wondering what you should be doing, and you got to stop wondering who, if you should just be. Don't do, be. You got to be before you do. Be who you are. And what you're supposed to be doing will come to you naturally because that's the only thing you can do. The only thing you can do successfully, and by successfully, I mean reach the epitome of that thing, whatever it is, it's the thing that you were born to do. Yes, you can work to become good at something, but that's not the thing you're supposed to be doing. You ever seen an athlete who was good? I mean, good in Pee Wee League, good in Little League, man. I'm talking about good in high school, middle school. He was an ace, star, stud. High school, phenomenal, highly ranked, top 20 in the country. I mean, sometime top 10 in the nation. College, phenomenal player, phenomenal player. Make it to the pros, fizzle out. Why? Because no matter where you are, you have to keep being who you're supposed to be. If you're supposed to be something and you start wavering from that, then you're gonna fall away from your blessings because you may be doing what you're supposed to do, but if you're not being who you're supposed to be while you're doing that, you're gonna fall out of favor, not with man, not with the team, not with the job, not with the coworkers, not with the world. You're gonna fall out of favor with God. You could bounce back from being out of favor with people. So what? There's other people over there who probably love you. But you can't bounce back quickly from falling out of favor with God, brothers. You ain't gonna bounce back quickly. You got to make it up to God, man. You got to show God because you got to think about this. God has already given you so much mercy that by the time he starts to let you feel the heat, he's done giving you mercy. You got to earn the mercy back. That's why it's such a long climb back for where you're doing the right thing and then you start doing the wrong thing and you fall off. It's such a long climb back because you got to spend a period of that time proving to God that you understand that it was you, not him. You take an athlete like Zion Williamson, for example, New Orleans Pelicans star. The guy could be the next whoever you want to name. Name could be in the record books. But he's supposed to be a man who takes care of his body. He's supposed when God blesses you to be a physical specimen, that's what you're supposed to be. And if you take care of that and maintain being that physical specimen, you become LeBron James, who's still breaking records in his 20th season. who's solidifying himself as the best player ever, regardless. The argument between him and Jordan is almost over. If LeBron wins a championship this year in his 20th season, the same year he breaks the all-time scoring record, listen, as a Laker, it is over. There is no more debating about who's the greatest ever. The GOAT debate is over. It's close to being over now. But when you look at how LeBron takes care of what God gave him, his gift was being a physical specimen. He's always been a physical specimen, always been the biggest, strongest, fastest, quickest. And anybody who was bigger wasn't quicker. Anybody who was quicker wasn't bigger. Anybody who was faster wasn't stronger. Anybody who was stronger wasn't faster. So he's always had physical advantages. Sometimes that's all you get. But if you embrace that and become the best of that, that's why I talk about being the best version of yourself. If you're a physical specimen, be the best version of that physical specimen. If you're a spiritual specimen, be the best version of that spiritual specimen. If you're an intellectual specimen, be the best version of the intellectual specimen. Stop trying to do what you're not supposed to do because you're scared to be who you're supposed to be. You got kids out here that are absolute geniuses intellectually, but they want to fit in so bad with knuckleheads or strong kids or popular kids or all of that they won't enhance their strength. Let me tell you something. The people who run the world are the intellectual people. They're the ones who make the things that we can't understand, but we have to use. Put a one in the chat if you fully understand cell technology. If you could start from scratch and create a cellular service, go ahead. If you can build a cellular device from scratch, put a one in the chat. And if you have a cellular device, put a two in the chat. But we're living in an environment where nobody's being told to embrace who you are. We're all the same. No, we're not all the same. We were not born to be the same. We were not told to be the same. God didn't intend for us to be the same. We were not created to be the same, but we're still around here trying to be the same, not understanding that the individual version of you is the absolute best thing you could be. Your best chance at success, your best chance at happiness, your best chance at peace of mind, your best chance at overall joy in life, your best chance at not dying and leaving here with regrets, and worse, living with regrets, is that you embrace who you are and become that person to the best of your ability. You must do that. Ice Cold G, appreciate the dub sandwich, man. Shalom, King Ray Ray. Love all the great messages this week. Been just confirmation that I should keep strong on the path I'm on while being guided by the Most High. God, keep on doing the Most High work in your own way. Stay blessed. Hey, salute to you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Good brother right there, man. We always have some good chop ups, man. So salute to that brother, man. Ice Cold G, man. Salute. SJ3, my brother. I see you in the building. Salute. You got to stop focusing on what others are doing and pursuing. Who cares what they're doing and pursuing? Everybody want to be a billionaire. Okay, maybe it ain't meant for you to be a billionaire. Maybe you're wasting all this time trying to chase more and more and more and more money, and you missing out on who you're supposed to be because you're trying to do what somebody else is doing. People ask me, man, who was your motivation, man? Who do you? I ain't had no motivation. I ain't never looked at nobody and said, okay, that's my idol, or that's who I want to be like, or I've never looked at anyone that way. I was never taught to look at someone like that. My dad, that's it. And even with that, I just wanted to learn from my dad. Like, my dad never told me to be like him. My dad always told me, man, to excel, to be better than him. So he never even let me focus on him as my goal or my idol or anything. He just dropped the information on me. And that's all you can do as a man. All you can do is drop the information on your son. That's all you can do. You got to drop the information. Hopefully, no matter how high you make it, you hope he excels beyond you. So the bottom line is you're out here worrying about what other people are pursuing and doing, and what you're doing. Wasting time not being who you're supposed to be. Because I promise you, who you're supposed to be is not worrying about what somebody else is doing. I can promise you that. I don't know you. I don't know who you're supposed to be. You know that. But I can promise you and guarantee you, every single one of you, that who you're supposed to be is not worrying about what somebody else is doing and trying to pattern yourself after them. I can promise you that. The number 4 benefit of being who God put you here to be. You have the luxury of working on yourself from an extremely young age. You've been working on yourself since you were born. Think about as you're learning, when you're a little toddler and you're learning and you're doing all these different things, when you start walking, talking, running, writing, speaking in full sentences, singing songs, remembering things, you start to address yourself. You are becoming the best version of yourself. You get to a point where you start to try to become like everyone else. Everyone is competing for the same goal. It's a waste of time. It's an absolute waste of time. Now, I won't get into my views on public schooling and homeschooling and private schooling and all that. Not here. Maybe I'll talk about it on Patreon. But you got to understand, man, that your life is structured from the time you hit the ground. From the time, listen, man, from the time the doctor hold you in his hands, man, your time start ticking. Your time is ticking then. That's why one of the worst things a parent could do is live vicariously through their kid. If you're not satisfied with your life and you try to live vicariously through your children, you are doing them a great disservice. A great disservice. And it makes no sense to even do that or put them in that situation. So when you have the luxury of working on yourself from an extremely young age, you don't waste time trying to do things that other people are doing. Why you think the nerds always become successful? Because the nerds are just being who they're put here to be. You got other people who are nerds trying to be cool kids. You rarely, listen, man, it's so rare that a nerd try to be a cool kid that they make movies about it. It's an entertaining movie. It's a funny, entertaining movie plot to see a nerd try to be a cool kid. And it always takes something magical. But those nerds always end up becoming who they're supposed to be. You know why? Because they're left to their own devices. Nobody's putting any peer pressure on them. They're not trying to fit in. They're not trying to go along to get along. They're not trying to have these friends. They sit over there in their little peer group and they work on being, and not only that, they help each other become better versions of themselves. Because they're a group of kids who are left to their own devices. And you know what your own device is as a kid? If ain't nobody trying to influence you to do something else, just be you. Just be you. The worst thing in the world if a kid can't even be who they are at home. You go out into the world, yes, there's pressure out there. But if you can't remind the kid to be who they are at home, you are doing a disservice to yourself and the kid and the world. Never know who this kid might become if you encourage them to be. The number 5 benefit of being who God put you here to be. You instinctively become the best version of yourself because you never even consider being someone else. When you embrace being who God put you here to be, you take off. Your life takes off, man. When I say it takes off, it takes off. You don't worry about what people say. You don't worry about how people feel. You fall into your lane, man, and you take off. And you realize in your lane, guess what happens in your lane? There ain't no other cars in your lane. You might want to take your eyes off the road for a minute and look down. Guess what? You ain't gonna hit no car. You might want to, you might want to take a nap, put it in autopilot and take a nap. You put it in autopilot, you ain't gonna hit another car. You're gonna be good because your lane is your lane. There's 50 billion lanes, and one of them is yours. So why are you gonna try to be in somebody else's lane because you want to do what they're doing? That's their lane. And the thing is, you're not going to be in their lane by yourself because while they're in their lane, there are other people in their lane. Here's the great thing about being in your lane. When you're in your lane, anybody who tries to come in your lane, they all bound you. There's a force field around you. They can't infiltrate your force field in your lane, but they're all knocking each other all over the place because they're not even supposed to be in the lane. The energy of your lane is knocking other people out of it. That's why you don't even have to focus on who's in your lane because you can't even see them. They see each other. They don't see you. Every lane looks empty, except for to the person who's in their lane. So these obstacles you face in life, these insurmountable obstacles, these bumps in the road, all of these, if you're facing too many obstacles and too many bumps in the road, yes, are you going to have to work hard? Yes. But if you're facing obstacles and bumps in the road and things you got to go around and big potholes in the road, you are not on your path. You are not in your own lane. Your own lane is made for whatever vehicle you driving. If you're driving a physical vehicle, guess what? Make that vehicle the best working vehicle you can be, and you will be in your lane, and you won't have all these pitfalls. There are no pitfalls on the path that you're supposed to be on. I'm telling you, brothers, you instinctively become the best version of yourself, and you never even consider being someone else because there is no one else to be. There's an amazing spiritual awakening that overtakes you once you decide that you're just gonna be who you're supposed to be. I am who I'm supposed to be. I'm gonna be that. I'm not gonna compromise that. When I meet a woman, a lot of the times, man, I tell them that I'm not compromising anything. I am who I am. Well, relationships are about compromise. Okay, a relationship is about compromise. I don't want to be in no relationship because I'm not compromising anything. If I don't have to compromise anything in my life, why am I going to compromise something to add you to my life? If I'm adding you to my life and I got to compromise something, you don't fit. This ain't your lane. This is not go find your lane. The number 6 benefit of being who you're supposed to be, or being who God created you to be. You never try to keep up with the Joneses because you're so far ahead of them. Man, I don't ever worry about keeping up with the Joneses. When I look at the Joneses, I'm like, the Joneses don't have a whole lot of sense. I don't try to keep up with the Joneses. I don't try to buy expensive cars. I don't try to buy expensive clothes. I don't try to, hey man, listen, that's for the Joneses. Let the Joneses be the Joneses. Let me tell you something. If the Joneses are ahead of you, you're not being yourself and you're not on your path. The Joneses are that's the slowest moving family on the planet. They're going in circles. If you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, not only are you going in circles, you still behind them going in circles. You're going in bigger, slower circles than they are. Keeping up with the Joneses is the most idiotic thing you can do. I don't care who has what. I don't care who buys what. I don't care who wears what. I don't care. I don't care about any of that because I'm just being me. And the me that I am, I don't do the Joneses stuff. Nobody does that but the Joneses. I know plenty of wealthy people, and they don't do what the Joneses do. See, so keeping up with the Joneses, you're forgetting about the Smiths, you're forgetting about the Williams, you're forgetting about the Lockharts, you're forgetting about the Harrises, you're forgetting about everybody, you're forgetting about the Perrys, you're forgetting about the Johnsons, you're forgetting about everybody. You're just trying to keep up with the Joneses, and the Joneses are idiots. When you're focusing on being who God put you here to be, you never focus on keeping up with the Joneses. You never even attempt to. You don't even recognize the Joneses until somebody points them out. Because if you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, what relevance do they play in your life, man? What relevance do they have to you? None. Absolutely none. And this is one of the major things that take place in this society, man. Too many people are trying to keep up with the Joneses. Too many people trying to do what looks good, or man, listen. When you look at the amount of money that people are spending on jewelry, when diamonds are not even they're very valuable. When you look at the amount of money people are spending on clothes, when they're all made from the same fabric, there is no 100% cotton that's somehow got silk in it. You see what I'm saying? There is no penny that somehow has silver in it. So keeping up with the Joneses, it just doesn't make sense, man. The number 7 benefit of being who God created you to be is God always smiles on your life, but you realize it. Even when it seems like when you're not on the path you're supposed to be on because you're not being who you're supposed to be, God is still smiling on your life. You're just not living your life. There's always a smile on your life. So the moment you decide to live your life and be who you're supposed to be, bam, you feel the warmth of God's smile on your life. You feel the clarity that comes when God is smiling on your life. When God is shining his magnificent light on your life, you see it the moment you decide to start living your life. When you wake up one day and say, I'm going to be who I'm supposed to be, everything changes. And I'm not talking about in a few days, I'm talking about instantaneously, everything changes. You just wake up and life is different. But so many people are afraid to do that because you know what got to happen when you wake up one day and become who you're supposed to be. You got to give up all that stuff that you've learned to place value on. You've learned to place value on that stuff that's keeping you from being who you're supposed to be and getting the true blessings. If all of your blessings are stuff, you're not who you're supposed to be. You're not on the path you're supposed to be on. You're not in your lane. If every single thing you count as a blessing is materialistic, then you are not on the path because you ain't getting no spiritual blessings. If you're not getting no spiritual blessings, you're not on your path. Money is good. Of course, we need money. I love having money, man. I love making money. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love it. I'm not complaining about it. But if that's all you have, if every single time you show your blessings is financial, you're not on the path you're supposed to be on. You're not on the path you're supposed to be on. There's a bunch of money out here, and I can promise you, if you're not on the path you're supposed to be on, you ain't got a lot of it. You may have some, but you ain't got a lot of it. And just looking at it, when you look at people who are supposed to be on that, who are living, who are being who they're supposed to be, and if their blessings are financial, man, they are worth a bunch, a bunch, and they have more things to show than just that. So you got to remember, man, that when you are not feeling the positive energy of God in your life, it doesn't matter what you have. Don't act like you can't have money without. You don't have to go through God to get money. Trust me. Money is not that thing. Financial gain, oh yeah, you can get that in some very unscrupulous ways. So let's not act like because you have money that you have gotten that from your relationship with God. No, it's not that way. But when God always smiles on your life, you don't see it because you're not living that life. When you live that life, you always stay connected to God. Man, listen, you can't disconnect from God when you're being who you're supposed to be. When you're being who He created you to be, that's your connection to Him. If you're not being who He created you to be, He doesn't know you. God only knows you as who you're supposed to be. That's who He created you as. Listen, if I put, you see this lens right here? This is a Sony 35 millimeter f1.4 G Master lens. If I put that lens down and I go to pick it up, and it's the Sony 20 millimeter f1.4, I don't want this lens. This is a great lens, the 20 f1.8 rather. It's a phenomenal lens, but it's not the 35 millimeter G Master f1.4. It is not that. So when I put that down and I'm looking for the 35, you can't give me the 20. I don't know the 20 as the 35. You can't convince me the 20 is the 35. Even if when I put it on, it's gonna be a 35. You're never gonna convince me to put it on because when I put the 35 down, that's what I expected the 35 to be. I don't know that lens as the 35. That's God don't know you as somebody else. You can't get no blessings from God being somebody else, being someone other than who you're supposed to be, being someone other than who you were born to be, being someone other than who He created you to be. It has nothing to do with God not being able to. He doesn't work like that. He doesn't want to know you as someone else. Your blessings are over here. I got them for you. They'll be here when you get there. Let me go focus on something more important. I got people over here that want to be who they want to be, and they are living in it, and they're embracing it, and they deserve my glory. I'm going to let you sit over here and wait till you decide. If you decide, if you don't, keep being who you ain't supposed to be, and you'll never connect with me again. That's just the reality of the situation, brothers. The number 8 benefit of being who God put you here to be, you never feel the need to change. You only feel the desire to grow. Whenever I meet someone, man, they try to change anything about me, man, I cut them off. I'm not changing. Why? Because I love who I am. I'm being who I was put here to be. If you don't like it, that's your problem, not mine. I'm not going to change. If you meet me and you need me to change in order for you to be comfortable of being around me, that lets me know all I need to know. Go that way. I'll go this way. It's very simple. And here's the reason why. When you are who you are, there's a phenomenal peace of mind that comes with that. There's a phenomenal peace that comes with waking up every day knowing you are who you're supposed to be. Are we perfect? No, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. None of us is perfect. But those things that someone might call imperfections, they just come up. They just come with being me. Those are things that I embrace as a part of just being me. I'm the way God made me to be. The things I've experienced in life that help shape me into who I am, I'm just who I'm supposed to be. I'm going to be who I'm supposed to be. I'm going to be who God put me here to be. And all the particular nuances that come with that are embraced by me and accepted by me and cherished by me. You don't have to. I don't care if you do or not. I'm not concerned with that. You ain't got time to be worrying about cherishing what I am and who I'm supposed to be. You need to be focused on who you're supposed to be. And the difference between changing and growing is this. Changing means you start over from scratch as someone else. You need to change. No, I don't. You need to be gone. I don't need to change. I need to rearrange who's in my presence and you need to be out of it. Growing is simply becoming a better version of yourself. That's what we do. Man, you are who you are. Why change that? You can't change that. Embrace who you're meant to be and grow. And the more you grow, the less likely you are to change. Because here's the thing about growth. The things that grow and improve are parts of you that are meant to be there. It doesn't matter if people don't like them. The things that are growing are parts of you that are meant to be there. The goal is to get to where every part of you is growing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. Every part of you should be growing. The number 9 benefit of being who God put you here to be, people who want you to be something else quickly excuse themselves from your life. People don't hang around you if they know you won't change for them. Because everyone wants someone who's going to change to make their lives better. Once people realize that you cannot be manipulated into doing what they want you to do, whether it benefits you or not, they are quick to excuse themselves from your life. You get to the point where you don't have to put people out of your life. They come and they go. You stop wasting time with people in your life who don't belong in your life. And when I say they excuse themselves, I'm not saying they all just run off. I'm saying they give you what you need in order to know it's time to remove them from your life very quickly, very early on. Because when you are who you're supposed to be, you never focus on being who someone wants you to be. And one of the greatest turnoffs in the world is for somebody try to convince me to be who they want me to be, or convince me that I should do something that they want me to do, even though I don't want to, or even though I don't agree, or just convince me that they have enough value where I'm supposed to adjust who I am to accommodate them. People quickly excuse themselves from your life once they realize you can't be manipulated. And you only get that when you're steadfast in who you are. When you stand firm in who you are, that's the only way you get that. Otherwise, you're just thinking about it. You're not being about it. You're just talking about it. And over here in the kingdom, we don't just talk about it. We be about it. And the 10th and final benefit, let's do a recap before we get to 10. 10 benefits of being who God put you here to be, who God created you to be. Number 1, you don't get caught up in impressing the world instead of pleasing God. You don't care about impressing the world. You care about pleasing God because you realize that that's your connection, being who you are. Number 2, you fall into the many manifold blessings that are predestined for you on your life's path. All your blessings come to that person you're supposed to be. You don't get no blessings outside of that. Whatever you think you're getting outside of that is not a blessing. You only get blessings on that path. Number 3, you have no equal to being the authentic version of yourself. There's you and only you when it comes to being you. So there is no competition. You don't spend your life competing. Guys always talking about, you got to compete. You got to compete. No, all I got to do is be me. I don't have to do what you say I ought to do. I don't have to fit into your little group. All I have to do is be who I'm supposed to be. And I stop focusing on what others are doing and pursuing. Number 4, You have the luxury of working on yourself from an extremely young age. The earlier you embrace being yourself, the less of a gap you have between being yourself willingly as a child and embracing being yourself again willingly as an adult when you got a whole lot of time and a whole lot of space and energy to make up. Number 5, you instinctively become the best version of yourself because you never even consider being someone else. If you spend every day of your life working on becoming the best version of yourself, how can you fail? You only fail when you spend more time trying to be someone else than you are spending trying to be yourself. If you spend 10 years of your life working hard to be someone else or live like someone else or pattern your life after someone else, that's 10 years that you will never get back. You'll never make those 10 years up because you got to grow. If you get 10 more years, you can't make those 10 years up. You can only grow the way you need to grow in those 10 years. You're going to ever be for 10 years behind. So I say as early as you possibly can, embrace who you are, embrace being who you are, embrace being who God put you here to be, embrace who you were born to be. Number seven, Number 6, rather, you never try to keep up with the Joneses because you're so far ahead of them. Remember, if the Joneses are ahead of you, you're not being yourself. And who are the Joneses to keep up with? No one. They can't even keep up with themselves. Number 7, God always smiles on your life, but you only realize it because you're living that life. When you are who God put you here to be, He's smiling on your life and you see it, which keeps motivating you to be who you're supposed to be. Otherwise, He's not smiling on your life. He's not shining on your life. You only get the shine of God on your life when you're being who you're supposed to be. And once you get it, you never want to let it go. Ever. You never want to let it go. Number 8, you never feel the need to change. You only want to grow. Difference between changing and growing. Changing means you start over as somebody else. Only time you need to start over with somebody else is if you haven't been being yourself and then you start to embrace that. If you're being who you're supposed to be, you never even consider changing. You just grow. What does growing mean? Keep becoming the best version of that person you were born to be. The one you've been working on your whole life. Because you got to remember this. You never truly stop working on being the best version of yourself. No matter how much you get sidetracked or start thinking you're supposed to be somebody else or any of that, there are people who have let themselves go down terrible paths, but they still find time to do that thing that they were born to do. Even though it may not be successful, they may not even care about success. They may do it as a pastime or a hobby, but they still do it. So why not embrace that thing fully and put yourself in the life you're supposed to be living? Because it's really all about peace of mind. It's really all about peace of mind. You get your peace of mind rest on the path you're supposed to be on. It rests in your lane. You can't find peace of mind anywhere else. Peace of mind comes from being who you're supposed to be. Number 9, people who want you to be something else quickly excuse themselves from your life once they realize you can't be manipulated by their actions. They let you know quickly, hey, I'm not supposed to be here. And you're like, okay, there's the exit. And the number 10 and final benefit of being who God put you here to be is you automatically put God first because you understand no one else truly knows who you are. No one truly knows you but God. So when you become who you're supposed to be, who God put you here to be, your connection with Him is so strong that you just automatically put Him first. You feel like putting God first is putting yourself first. That's the goal, to get to the point where you understand and believe and know for a fact even that putting God first is the equivalent of putting you first. Because if you don't put God first, you never know what's going to happen. You're putting yourself in harm's way if you don't put God first in everything you do. And as always, that's how we'll end this show. Put God first in everything you do. Couple super chats here, man. Couple of super chats. David Brackett, appreciate the $5, man. What's up, King Ray Ray? Great message. I can still remember being 1-year-old like I was 10. My mental faculties have always been next level. Know yourself. Yeah, you know what? Me too, man. I talk to my mom all the time about things that happened when I was a little kid. Man, I'm talking about small kids. You in the beginning, she was like, "Man, you remember that? How you remember that, son?" I was like, "It's just part of my. It's my mental. My recollection is it's that's in it. That's a part of it." Spiritual Alpha, appreciate the 2 bones, brother. Salute King Ray Ray and the GLG. Salute to you, brother. I appreciate you. Let's get ready to slide on out of here, man. Green Label Gang, the brothers in the kingdom. I appreciate y'all, man. I really do. SJ3, my brother. D. Flemings, Famo, I appreciate y'all, man. Hey, listen, man, let's go ahead and slide on out of here, man. Look, y'all enjoy the rest of your Friday, man, and get ready to kick your feet up on that Sabbath day, man. Might have a little footage for y'all Sunday, man. Me and my son going fishing, man. I'm taking fishing Sunday. Your boy King Ray Ray, man, full-time dad now. You know how that is, man. No, let's make it right. Your boy King Ray Ray is a single dad now, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and make this happen, man. It's one hell of a life, man. I'm telling you. So, hey, look, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all put God first. Keep grinding and growing, my brothers. We're going to go ahead and get ready to slide out of here, man. Peace.